Alright, welcome back, Sebring. Wow, it's been a day and an age since I've been on this track. It is a fun track to drive, but very tough to get right. A lot of corners, a lot of places where you just do a little screw up and you can lose a lot of time. Easy to spin out here, certainly with the rain. Gonna be easy to spin out here for sure. Uh, it's a little bit more forgiving than some tracks. There's not a lot of walls to catch. With the rain, that's probably going to be a little bit worse to smash your car if you do spin out. And obviously, if there's a lot of traffic, easy to take other people out. So watch out. It's it's going to be a challenge, even in dry conditions. So this is the setup. This is for dry. Unfortunately, with time, I do not have the ability to do a wet guide as well, because it's probably going to be quite a bit different here if it's a rainy day. But hopefully, there'll be some dry races and you can catch one. Car is pretty low, not quite as low as it goes. There are some curbs here that can be a little disruptive, so not quite. Damper compression's turned up one notch. Brake bias, again, that's an individual thing. Just make sure you're not locking up too easy. Springs are as soft as they go. If you know my channel, you know I like to play around with the camber. The left-hand side does most of the work. The camber is turned up. For a rain race, I do have a rain guide having camber a bit more neutral, getting more tire on the track, just to get a better contact patch when conditions are wet. Um, so yeah, spring rates in the rear as low as they go. Camber's turned up here a bit. Toe in is turned up in the front, um, just to get that turn in a little bit better. A lot of sharp corners here. Ride height in the rear is lowered. Um, it's not. It's got one extra notch of height just to give the car a little more rotation. There are a lot of tight corners here, a lot of late apexes. ARB is turned up to 15 again just to rotate the car. In the rain race, you're probably going to want to have that reduced quite a bit, just so you're not spinning out so easy. 14 liters should do it in a dry race. In a wet race, I imagine the times are going to be significantly higher. 13 liters probably would get you to the end in a rain race. And then the big thing is the iRacing setup has it at tall. Tall works well if you're using a stick. If you're one of the faithful, tall probably is where you want to be. In a rain race, tall again probably is where you want to be, but I found my fastest times on a dry track is with a standard. Uh, in the back straight, you do sacrifice a little bit. However, through the rest of the track, I found standard to be faster. So that's up to you. That's an individual thing. So we will do the guide in slow-mo and then run it out at full speed. Track is 28 degrees. Obviously, it's a dry track. Yeah, so we'll go through it here. So coming into turn one. So um, it's a little tough in this view, but there's kind of the kink here, and basically you're turning in, just gently turning in at that kink. You'll probably see that a little bit better when you're actually driving yourself. Approaching the fence, shifting down into third, getting on the brakes a little bit before the fence there. You don't want to have the wheel turned and getting on the brakes too hard here. It is easy to spin out, and you want to have the car slowed. You're looking for this cone on the top of the fence here, and basically that's where you want to be getting onto the power. I'm a little late here getting on the power, but picking it up as early as possible. You'll gain a lot of time on exit here if you are on throttle. If you are not on throttle, if you're sliding, you're going to lose a tremendous amount of time. and you want to use all of the track getting up to this curb here. Getting on the sand gets you next, so watch out for that. The sand is not too slippery and dry. That might be different in rain. And then working your way up into fourth gear. So looking for the 2 cone here between the 2 and the 3, getting on the brakes pretty darn hard down into second gear. You want to have the car slowed down. All these tight corners are very late apexes. So turning in just sort of before the blue curb on the left, and not getting too tight up against the curb. Again, it is a late apex, and wanting to get on the throttle. You can see here is kind of where the apex is, getting on the throttle as early as possible. Again, on exit, being on throttle is going to save you a lot of time. If you are not on throttle, you're going to lose a lot of time. And the trick is getting the car over to the right hand side. You see I'm lifting here a bit just so I don't slide too wide, because you really want to open this up as much as possible. Getting onto this blue curb on the right to open this corner up as much as you can, and then getting, well, lifting off, staying in second gear, and just applying just a little bit of brake sort of mid corner, just to slow the car a bit and get some rotation. And again, a very late apex, and picking up the throttle as early as possible here, because this is going to be a long stretch of full throttle. And just opening up the wheel, using the curb on the left. I did catch this section here is one of these little triangle curbs. Not ideal to get on it, but it doesn't cost you too much. If you get on the sand, you do get the X, and it will slow you down quite a bit. And this section is quite a ways of full throttle, so you do not want to mess up this corner. So coming into the next one, looking to brake between the 3, or the, I guess what is that, the 4 and the 3. Getting on the brakes real hard down into first gear. Yeah, this one, it's easy to spin out. It's easy to run wide here. Watch out, it's another late apex. And then turning in just towards the end of the blue curb here, not quite at the end. Releasing the brakes. It's important to get the brakes released gently, otherwise you can spin out quite easy as you turn the wheel. Picking up the throttle as early as possible. And again, it's another big stretch of full throttle from here to the next corner. The track isn't straight, but it is full throttle all the way, just using the curb there on exit. So it's important to get yourself lined up here straight on the left side. Obviously in a race that's going to be a little different if you're battling. Looking for the 3 cone, getting on the brakes just before the 3 cone, not halfway, about 3/4 of the way to that 3 cone. Hard on the brakes, second gear, another late apex. I probably turned in here just a little bit too early, looking to turn in more at that blue, where the blue curb is. And again, just releasing the brake as you start to turn the wheel and rotate the car in, picking up the throttle as early as possible, and just using that blue curb on exit. So it's important coming into this one, kind of keeping it mid-track and getting yourself lined up towards these cones and getting the wheel straight before the braking zone. Watch out, it can catch you out here. You can come in here a little squirrely. And at the 2 cones this time, in real time it looks like I'm braking at the 2 cone. Hard on the brakes, down into second gear. Again, very late apex. Probably turned in here just a smidge too early, but releasing the brakes as you turn the wheel and just starting to pick up the throttle as early as possible. Again, another big, stretch of full throttle. So coming out here mid-track, uh, again, if you're battling, it's a whole different story, but mid-track and you want to be full throttle and you want to catch this curb on entry. Cold tires, you may have to have a slight lift here, certainly in the rain probably. And then looking for that 3-cone, you want to get onto these curbs, and then just braking, starting to slow the car down, shifting down into third. And it's important, you want to be as left as possible, but if you get onto this grass, you do get an X, and your back end is also going to really want to kick out. So it's important, do not hit that grass, not only for the X, but because you are probably going to get sideways if you hit that grass. So third gear, and then basically kind of using this last cone here as a turn-in marker, releasing the brakes and then picking up the throttle just to keep that back end a little steady. You do want to get on this curb, however you can see this is one of these elevated curbs. If you get your tire inside, it is going to grab your tire, it's going to grab your car. It's not good. Keep it on the curb, do not go over, and then just opening up the wheel as much as you can, picking up the throttle nice and early, and again, you can use all of the curb here, however do not go over. This section, if you get over, it is going to grab your car, however it is, you can recover it. It's not too hard to recover, but you do get the X and it will slow you down terribly, but it shouldn't be a race over. And then keeping the car tight to the left in third gear still. You can make use of this open section here. I do believe the rule is if your right hand tire crosses the white line there, you do get an X. I think there's even a slowdown there if you really go wide, so watch out for that. Third gear, again, very late apex. You're kind of looking at getting on the brake just past the fence here. Just a dab of brakes just to slow the car down a bit, otherwise you will run wide. And then picking up the throttle, just releasing the brake slowly, picking up the throttle before the apex, and gently picking up the throttle, and using all of the curb here on exit. Again, just don't touch that grass. You do get an X. Obviously in the rain, this curb is probably going to be pretty slippery. And then it is a big stretch to the next corner. So you can see at this point I'm now at the rev limit. This is where the standard stack is weaker. However, as I said in the setup guide, I find it is faster through all of the rest of the track. I set my best time with the standard. In the race, I don't know. I could be wrong. This standard might not be the one, but we'll see. So looking for those 3 cones there, just starting to turn in gently, and just releasing the throttle a little bit, lifting a bit, and looking for this Marshall station, shifting down into third, and just kind of keeping the wheel straight, braking with the wheel straight. Do not turn the wheel here and brake. You are going to spin like crazy. So just slowing the car down in third, and then coming in towards the barrier here. You want to sort of just keep the wheel as sort of straight as possible, but keeping it tight to the to the barrier. And then at the bridge here, at the corner of this barrier, picking up the throttle, full throttle. This well, I probably came in here just a little tight, not quite full throttle, but picking up that throttle as early as possible, because this is another big straight section, and you can lose a lot of time if you mess up that corner. Even if you keep the car straight without spinning, there's a lot of time to be lost or gained through that section. You can use all of the track on exits. Again, I came in there maybe a little too tight, but you can cross this white line. There is no X. It's totally fine. In the dry, in the wet, that might be a different story. And then that is it. It's straight to the finish. It is a little distance to the finish line here. If the guy in front of you messed up that corner, if you nailed it better, you can probably get an overtake here, perhaps. So look out for that. The race is not over until you cross the line. So that's a 150 or a 2:15.5. Obviously, my best is a 2:15 flat, so I did leave some time on the table. It is hard to hook up every single corner on this track. Yeah, and every corner is very penalizing if you get it wrong on this track. There's no place to really gain the time back. Also, that last section, that fast sweeping right-hand section, watch out in your quali lap. If you screw that up, you've wrecked the lap you're on, and you've wrecked the lap, your next lap. So really concentrate, make sure you get that last corner right for a good quali time. So we will see you guys next time. I'll run it out at full speed.